it's Jessii Vee, and as you can tell by the title of today's video, today I'm going to be telling you why you should never ever pick up a ringing payphone. And I know you might be curious, I know it might be tempting, but I have two creepy stories to tell you why you should never do it. I feel like I have not seen payphones around in so long, and after doing research for this video, when I see one, I'm gonna run far away. I'm not even gonna get near it. Okay guys, but before I jump right into these very creepy stories, I just want to give a huge thanks to MeUndies for collaborating with me on this video. They have sent me the cutest sets that I cannot wait to show you guys. MeUndies makes the softest basics for everybody. Their patterns are amazing, their colors are amazing. MeUndies wants to celebrate your true authentic self, and you guys know how much I love Star Wars. They had Star Wars sets. They're super soft, they're super stretchy, their micro-modal fabric is sustainably sourced from beech wood and is softer than soft, like I said. It is lightweight, it is breathable, and there are so many cuts for different butts, as they like to say. So you can go onto their website and select what kinds you like the best, what makes you feel the most comfortable. My favorite are the cheeky briefs, but there's bikini, there's hipster, there's high-waisted. I also really love MeUndies because they're super size inclusive. Their sizes range from extra small to 4XL. So whatever your body is, they got you. I love really bright and bold, which is why I love the pink set that I got. They're also ethically sourced and sustainable, and they make sure all of their products are sourced responsibly and work with partners that care for their workers. And if you sign up for their membership program, you get fresh undies delivered to your door every month and up to 30% off everything on site. You're also able to cancel at any time, and there's free US shipping and returns. So click the link down below to treat your booty and get 15% off your first order with MeUndies. Thank you so much to MeUndies for sponsoring today's video. I am so excited about my sets. Alright guys, let's talk about these creepy payphone stories. So payphones were really popular quite some time ago, so I'm gonna do a brief history for those of you who may not be too familiar. A payphone is a telephone that lets the public make phone calls if they pay for them first. Many payphones accept coins, but some can accept credit cards, debit cards, and phone cards as well. In the 20th century, they were very often used, especially in cities. But then when people started using mobile phones, payphones quickly became rarer in small towns and later also in cities. When the telephone was invented in 1876, it was at first a service available only to the relatively wealthy. These rich families would pay a large monthly subscription to have a telephone in their house. So after some time, they thought it would be necessary to create an easier way for the general public to access the phone without having to pay a subscription, and it's more of like a one-time use thing. So in the early 1900s, they created telephone booths, but they were made out of wood and operated with an honor system. You basically made the call, and when you were done, since back then all telephones required operators, the operators told you how many coins to deposit. Within a year or two of their introduction, 25,000 of them could be found in New York City alone, and they were usually found in subway stations, in banks, in hotels. And in 1999, there were approximately 2 million phone booths in the United States, but only 5% of those are left today, and about a fifth of those are in New York City alone. So I guess they're not as rare in New York City, but they're rare everywhere else. If you see one, that's a rare moment. Okay, let's get into our very first creepy story. This one is called The Campground Night Shift. This story is about a guy named Daniel that worked the night shift at a campground, and he was there from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. every single night, or I guess technically every single morning. And he actually didn't really mind it. He would bring along his PS2 and would game for most of the night, and he found he only really had to deal with about 1 to 2 people each night shift, so it's a pretty easy job. It was just him in a really tiny shack in the forest with nothing around him but darkness all night. And the very first week he was there, he spoke to another worker who had just recently quit, who told him about this strange payphone a few feet away from the shack where he worked. He said it rang every single night at 4:17 a.m. exactly. And the weird thing was it would only ring once. He said it was probably just like an automated test call, but he never answered it himself. Well, the first few months that Daniel worked there, it was in the middle of a really hot summer. So most nights he kept the windows closed in the shack to not let any really hot air in. So he was never able to hear the payphone going off. But when September hit and it got cooler out, he started leaving the windows open. And sure enough, at 4:17 exactly in the morning, the phone would ring only once. And he said the ring itself actually sounded super creepy. It almost sounded like the payphone was underwater or something. And one night he actually worked up the nerve to go and answer answer it. So he set an alarm on his phone for 4:15 and went to wait by the phone until it rang, and when he did, he answered it, but there was no sound. There was just this dead air, like there was someone on the other end, but they weren't talking. So he said hello a few more times and then hung up. He did this every single night for a week with no results. He didn't think really anything of it and then just left it alone for the next month. Well, the first week of October, he decided to go and answer the phone one more time. So he set his alarm, and at 4:17, he picked it up. This time he heard something. It sounded like someone was inhaling through clenched teeth, and the voice sounded really, really rough. He said it was almost like the voice had gargled gravel. And then a voice said his name, his first name, his middle name, and his last name. And it was a voice he had never heard before, and it terrified him so much that he hung up the phone right away and quit his job so he would never have to be near this payphone ever again. And that's how that one ended. I don't know if this one's a true story because this sounds really creepy. Imagine picking up a ringing payphone and it knows your first name, middle name, and last name. No thank you. And then I have another story called The Broken Payphone. This is about a guy who worked at a cell phone store inside of this really large shopping complex. And every day at 11:30 he goes out to eat lunch at a local sandwich shop. And right outside this sandwich shop there is this line of completely broken payphones. They don't work anymore, they're abandoned, they're all rusty, no one goes to them. But he did notice that every single day at 11:30 while he was eating his sandwiches, this old woman would walk up to one, pick it up, and would just start talking. She always looked like she was crying and frustrated and throwing her hands up in the air. It was like she was arguing with whoever this person was on the other end, although the phone wasn't actually working. So he wondered if she was crazy, but he always felt this curiosity to eavesdrop. The first day he was eavesdropping, he got a few sentences from her. She was saying things like, "Why do you think you can leave me so easily? You promised to stay by my side forever." And every word that she spoke always sent this chill down this guy's spine. The third day of eavesdropping, she would say things like, "You were so young, I miss you. Why don't you ever say anything anymore? Why don't you just come back to me?" After she said things like this, she would slam the phone back down. She would walk off angrily. It was almost like she was having a fight with a former lover or husband or something. On the fourth day he was eavesdropping, she was saying, "Please, please just talk to me." He decided to stop eavesdropping after that. It just seemed really wrong and she seemed to be in a really bad place mentally. But the next morning when he came into work, he saw her lifeless body at the bottom of the escalator, and taped to her chest was a piece of paper, and the piece of paper said, "I can finally be with you now." Well, that day he still went back to his favorite sandwich shop, and as he was sitting there, he heard the payphone start ringing. So he stood up, and out of curiosity, he went over and picked up the phone. When he answered it, he almost dropped it immediately when he heard the voice on the other end. It was his mother, who had passed away 2 years ago, and she was saying, "I miss you, and I wish I could see you. I can't talk for long, but I just wanted to make sure that you were okay." He hung up the phone and walked away right after that, and he knew right away what that payphone had been used for. It was some connection to the other side, and it wasn't a good thing. Anyways, those are my creepy payphone stories that I wanted to tell you today. I hope you enjoyed them, and don't forget guys, before you close off this video, go and check out my MeUndies link that I've put down below. But I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!